bounce with it, drop with it, lean with it, rock with it, snap with it. All my ladies, pop your backs with it, bounce with it, drop with it, lean with it, rock with it, snap with it. All my ladies, pop your backs with it.
Hey everyone, this is Oscar from Underdog, and today we're going to do a little love letter to Do It To It by ACRAZE and Cherish. This song was a tech house anthem and a TikTok viral sensation. And even though maybe it's not the genre that I would normally go for, I do think it's a super fun and playful song, so let's celebrate that and have a closer look at it. Now, if you want to understand why this song works as well as it does, we have to go back to the theory. But as the old saying goes, if you don't appreciate me at my... then you don't deserve me at my... So let's look at the theory of why this song works as well as it works. We'll look at how the harmony works, we'll look at how the rhythm theory works, and then we'll look at the sound design secret that really ties this whole thing together. All right, let's talk about the harmony and why this works the way it works. Now, the riff that your ear is probably latching onto is this. Na 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 na. Na, na. All right, that has 4 notes in it. The first 2 notes are na, 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 and then it goes na, 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 na. And interestingly, those notes are a minor third apart, but then they go up by a semitone each. And there are 2 chords that fit exceptionally well with that, which are this chord and this chord. All right, so when you try to understand a song harmonically, what you're really doing is you're looking for chords that fit underneath the main melody. Because if you understand the chord progression that plays at any given moment, you understand basically everything about the song, and all the rest is sound design. The notes in this riff have a very peculiar feel to them because you're playing 2 notes, na, 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 na. Then you go a semitone up, na, 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 na. And that's a very unusual shape if you usually just use the 7 chords that we normally use. Normally you choose a scale. Here it would be C minor, for example. And within that scale, you construct 7 chords. And then you look for chords that fit well with the melody. But in this case, what fits best is actually a borrowed chord, an altered chord, which is called the major third. So if you think that this song is in C minor, we could also call that E flat major. And there we have 7 chords. And within that scale, we go from the major 3 to the minor 6. The minor 6, of course, being the root of the relative minor. If that doesn't make sense to you, follow my Foundations of Electronic Music course or sign up for my Foundations Level 2 course, which I'm preparing right now. So sign up to the mailing list. Cheeky little bit of advertising. But so we go from major 3 to minor 6, and it sounds like this. Right? Because over that, now this song was originally an R&B song by Cherish, right? Where there was a lot more harmonic information. But once it's been stripped down into tech house territory, the only other point of reference that we have harmonically is this bass line. And weirdly enough, the bass line plays E flat, which is the root of the relative major. So it does this kind of a thing. So together with the motif, it does make sense because it has a strong relationship. It's just not what I would have thought. But it kind of makes it more happy because it kind of insinuates that the root note of the scale is the E flat, which is the root of the major scale, not the C, the root of the minor scale. I know I'm confusing a lot of you here, so let's move on to the rhythm theory instead, which is mostly really simple. We've got a drum beat, which is just a simple boots and cats and boots and cats and boots, cats drum beat, which I would say acts as a pulse. And then against that pulse sits a syncopation of the bass. So if you take these 2 elements together, you can see that these beats are the really strong beats. We can almost ignore them, right? These notes are kind of syncopated. And they give the groove its danceability. See that? So we take away the strong beats, just to focus on the weak beats. And now we see how this thing syncopates. So in terms of harmony, we're doing a 3 to 6, just a 2-chord chord progression. And in terms of rhythm, we're really just working with a steady pulse of a house beat plus a syncopated bass line. And that bass line plays the root note of the major scale. Even though the chords behind the harmony might make you feel like it's in the minor scale, the bass kind of pulls you back towards the major. Now, as I mentioned, there's a sound design technique that kind of ties this whole thing together and that really changes it from this to, which I hope you'll appreciate is quite a different level of professionalism. And then I would say that the sound design secret that sort of glues this whole thing together is something that I covered a few weeks ago, which is guitar amps. As you'll remember, are a kind of a saturation technique that will take whatever's going on in your low frequencies and generate harmonics above it so that it becomes more mid-rangey. And for example, the bass, if we play the bass really deep and low, is just an FM, like an operator patch, with a little knock, a little pitch envelope on the start. But then you feed it into a guitar rig, and you get this. And the subjective volume that comes out of this, like the feeling of loudness, is priceless. You would have to really overdrive a speaker really hard to get this kind of crunchiness. And then together with well-chosen samples in the drums, you get this is what you get. And then I just add in the chords as well as a little, just a little flourish. Just to give some harmonic context for the voice. If you think music composition like this is cool, but you don't really know where to get started, go follow my Foundations of Electronic Music course. It's formulated for absolute beginners. However, if you've done a course like that and you don't consider yourself a beginner anymore, but still you look at the sound design of something like this and you go, whoa, how do I get to that level? Then sign up to my mailing list, because in a few weeks I'm going to be launching Foundations Level 2, which is for intermediate level producers, which goes much, much deeper into all the concepts behind coming up with something like this. Now, the final step in an iconic song like this is, of course, the vocals.
Bounce with it, drop with it, lean
Now, obviously, my
with it,
voice is not
rock
the same
with
kind
it,
of quality
snap
as
with
those
it.
beautiful
All my
voices
ladies,
from the
pop your
R&B
backs
group
with
Cherish,
it,
but I did my
bounce
best
with it, drop
and good
with
enough
it,
to get my
lean
family
with
on
it,
board
rock
to
with
complete
it,
this video
snap
with the
it.
TikTok
All
dance.
my
So let's
ladies,
have some
pop
fun
your
with
backs
this. Let's
with
go.
it, bounce